Bravo! Take the girl to my quarters.
Janet's car? Yeah. There's not a trace of it.
Let me loose. Do you hear me? You will be soon as big as a giant. Or, like all the others, dead.
Life has many strange secrets.
And none is stranger than the curse of the blood ghouls. In the dark of night, they leave their tombs to satisfy their need for blood. Because these demons of the undead can exist only by ravishing the living.
Let me go.
With abnormal powers of love, they enslave the unwary.
Don't let her
go. Leaving on them the horrible telltale fang mark of the vampire. Life-devouring monsters in human form. They can be anywhere, everywhere.
Louise!
No one is safe. Only by destroying them will a town gone wild with terror and fear be free of the curse of the blood ghouls.
It is safe to state that the grandchildren of some of the people in this dinner will not be born on Earth. They come from the bowels of hell, a transformed race of walking dead, zombies guided by a master plan for complete domination of the Earth. Plan 9 from outer space. Starring the most nightmarish cast ever, Bela Lugosi, the seductive Vampira, and Thor Johnson as the Walking Dead.
Turn off your electro gun! No! No! Stop him, Dennis!
I can't get it, it's jammed!
Stop him, you fool!
Bullets bounce off their bodies. Rockets, missiles, jets cannot stop their death ship. What earthly power can stop this terror? For a glimpse of things to come, see this blast of screen suspense. For it could be happening right now.
say goodbye, Jules. You never left me without saying goodbye.
No clues, no fingerprints, no motive, nothing.
But surely if a man was choked to death, there would be imprints on his throat.
Why in the world do you stay in this place?
We can't leave.
Incidentally, where are your menfolk?
You're the first man I've ever seen.
Let go, Kip.
Helen, what's the matter?
Danger, Kip. They want to kill you. They'll take the spaceship and they'll make me go with them.
Well, how?
They can, Kip. They control me.
You'll share man's greatest thrill as you rocket through space to the lost moon city of alluring, ferocious cat women. Theirs is the fevered fury of life without love, goading them to lure men into the den of bloodthirsty moon monsters, driving them to tempt men in the deadly cave of moon gold, flaming into a wild lust to conquer man and destroy the world.
Take the girl to my quarters.
Janet's car? Yeah. There's not a trace of it.
Let me loose. Do you hear me? You will be soon as big as a giant. Or, like all the others, dead.
Life has many strange secrets.
And none is stranger than the curse of the blood ghouls. In the dark of night, they leave their tombs to satisfy their need for blood. because these demons of the undead can exist only by ravishing the living.
Let me go.
With abnormal powers of love, they enslave the unwary.
Don't let her go.
Leaving on them the horrible telltale fang mark of the vampire. Life-devouring monsters in human form. They can be anywhere, everywhere.
Do you have points to those people that show up?
Yeah, well, it's more of along the lines of sorry the other guys that weren't able to come, and sorry for ending it as quickly as it is, because you're pretty much going to be at a loss. So yeah, I don't know if you, well, actually, Siobhan is not in the Roll20. You might want to take a look at some of the stuff I did in there. As the recap, yeah, you guys went to the dinner party, and the Admiral did drop dead. Thus far, the only thing anybody's actually come up with on that is there's blood coming out of his mouth. That's about it. As it was left, nobody's even looked at him. There are many. I put 2 pictures up with a bunch of characters on them. Some I have labeled, some I haven't labeled, mostly because of the fact that I was not able to get those in there yet. But I have what everybody's supposed to do, or supposed to be able to do, or who they are for the most part in there. There's actually 2 images within there on the Roll20. One of course, I figure the way I kind of describe it is one side of the room and the other side of the room, or at least one side of the area you get to play with and the other side of the area. One with the dinner table and one with just the lounging. Each one of them has a number of people. Some of them are repeated on both, but not all of them are repeated on both. I don't think I set it up so you have access to the character sheets for those individuals that I've put everything in there for, and you really shouldn't. But as you know, the Twi'lek that was with the Admiral disappeared just as you heard the screaming and the Admiral dropped dead. She is nowhere to be seen, and you still don't know exactly who screamed. Screamed, whatever. So, one first thing I would actually say in all of it would be, Siobhan, if you could actually give me a sense roll.
What is my sense?
And storyline. Conrad.
12.
12, okay. With the 12, so I wasn't able to put some of the plot elements in here because the other 2 are out right now on emergencies. For anybody who actually views this later and such like that, Brian is at a get-together with a huge amount of people, having a problem with actually getting anywhere private to speak or do anything. And Dan, or Dark Rot, has to go pick up his daughter's car, her car, because it broke down 300 miles away from where he lives. Kind of an emergency, Father's Day, he's being dad on Father's Day.
So you're stuck with us.
Yep.
You can leave if you want.
With the 12, at this particular moment, I will actually say you do feel kind of a dark shadow. It's almost impossible to describe. Kind of a wave
There's a
of shadow.
disturbance in the force.
Yes, it is definitely a disturbance. Do either of you, for one, because I don't see everybody's stuff, do either of you have medicine, first aid, stuff like that as a trained skill, or just the base? Basically, along the lines, are you comfortable with first aid or medicine at all to even look at a body?
I do not have the skill.
I'm looking. It'd be under knowledge, wouldn't it?
It's under technical, actually.
But I have it.
Medicine. Hey, no, it's not a trained skill, but I do have it.
You do have the first
Medicine or
aid.
first aid.
First aid. Well, you need first aid to get the medicine. But I think she has first aid.
No,
but I don't think you have it
medicine.
trained. Do you have medicine?
Yeah, it's listed on the sheet, but it's at the default 2+1
Okay.
level. I haven't
Yep.
put any points into it.
Draz'iw was the one that actually had medicine.
Medicine is the advanced
Or excuse me,
one, isn't it?
you're right. Draz'iw had first aid. Thank you. I keep forgetting to get that. I keep mixing that up. Let me see. You know what? I have a feeling. Let me check something in my settings here. Nope, it's not. That's fine. So yeah, Draz'iw was the only one with first aid on that one. For the limited resources the two of you have, also a reminder on the situation, and when they figured that all out, the ranking official at the time decided to impose an Imperial lockdown of the building. At least that's what he ordered, and everything came to a screeching halt. The doors have been guarded now by stormtroopers and are locked. So nobody can really exit the ballroom area, the lounge area, and such like that, unless you want to mess with the door and the stormtroopers in a violent way.
That's my job.
But there are a few individuals in the actual rooms that are Imperial officers in their proper attire. Most of them, I believe, yeah, they were all on that secondary image. You have this woman right here. You have, where'd the rest of them go? You have the secondary admiral that's actually over here. You have a captain.
We haven't been transferred to the other page, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we
So
go.
you got a few military personnel here, and they're the ones actually ordering the things around. The admiral, the Grand Admiral, or did I put him as admiral?
Just admiral.
I put him
Wasn't
as
a grand
admiral. I put him as admiral in his perfect dress uniform. That's right. The one that looks like Commander Krennic or Director Krennic.
Yeah.
Director Krennic. As one of the admirals. He's brought over. The body is actually brought over to one of the couches to lay there. Where at that point, one of the other military, the Admiral, I can't read the name, Ke'imar, I believe was the name that I gave him, or asks if anybody basically along the lines of the stereotypical, is there a doctor in the house? So, let me see if I can actually find everybody. Going by the fact that when I actually put these up, I used a lot of default NPCs. Not a lot of them have any first aid. The officers really don't have any first aid or medicine for the most part. There is If I can remember exactly where she is, I believe. Nope, that one didn't have it.
I mean, I could try to roll. I got 3 dice in technical.
If you want, you can say that you are, and you can take a look at them.
All right. I'll give her a shot. I'll say that I'm a nurse.
Okay. I'm not going to worry about a con roll for the nurse.
I have an 11.
11. Well, here's one question. To what extent do you examine him? Strip him down, just look at his mouth, look for wounds.
Yeah, I'll look for wounds and look in his mouth and look at his eyes, but not strip him down.
Okay. In his mouth, everything is just bleeding. The gums are bleeding, the mouth is bleeding, there's blood coming out of everything in his mouth. Including, you think, his teeth. His eyes are red, bloodshot. They're just completely covered in blood. What should be tear wetness, the salty tear ducts, it's not the eyeball itself that's actually going red. It's his tears going red.
Poison or disease. I'm assuming a poison, though.
You say this aloud?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not until I... Yeah, I don't know. Would it be knowledge to try to identify? I have streetwise. Could I do a streetwise?
Streetwise to see if there's any common poisons?
Yeah.
It'd be a
I can smell almonds.
No almond smell.
Aw.
There is a metallic iron copper smell that anybody who has dealt with blood would recognize as blood. He just smells of blood. Yeah, go ahead and do the streetwise.
13?
Nothing that you know of. Nothing on the streets that you would know of.
Let me try my streetwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so then that one blew up, and again. Okay, so 16, 20, 29.
29 definitely would get you a little bit better information. There are poisons known to act this quickly, but when they act this quickly, they don't cause this kind of bleeding. And as you watch, even though he is completely devoid of life, he is consistently bleeding. Go ahead and do your perception or a search roll, either one of you.
I'll roll for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
I got a 9.
A 9 and you said 13?
14.
14? The blood is actually not just coming out of his mouth and out of his eyes right now. It's actually coming out of his nose. And there's a spreading darkness actually from underneath him.
Wait, so he's on the couch?
Yeah. He's laying on the couch.
And it's like... So at this point, I do want to grab his wrist. Because the fact that he's... Over. Yeah, I grab his wrist and roll him over. Like, what the hell?
When you roll him over, all along his back, it looks like there's spots of blood coming all the way through the jacket of his uniform, which means it's also going through the shirts and anything else he has underneath it. They're kind of coming down to the left and right of his sides, as well as down his spine.
where his ribs would be?
Kinda. Just like smaller circles, though. Just little circles of blood because it's actually seeped through that far, and you've been laying him on his back. And then there is the really large, red, sopping wet section where on his back where his kidney would be, his right kidney would be, or that general area.
Where his right kidney would be?
Yeah.
So I take this time to like, I think I can just like untuck his shirt and like roll it up and see what the hell happened to his back.
Okay. The blood is actually, for the smaller doses, the blood is actually, you might have to wipe it away a little bit to get a better view because it's kind of obscured on exactly what's going on there. But where the really sopping wet section was, where around the area on his back where the kidney would be, like the lower back on the right, it not only is bleeding profusely, but it looks like it had rotted away. That section of his back tissue's flesh actually shows necrosis, about that big.
That's not something that...
That wouldn't be anything that was administered here, because you couldn't get that much necrosis that quickly. It would have to have been done someplace else, and he just finally succumbed to it here.
Is this the guy that went to his apartment, the hotel?
Yes.
Still, this is like a couple days worth of rot.
Give me another perception or search or spot, depending on which one you have higher.
The given's 2D and perception. I hit things.
But you need to see it to hit it.
I can see it. I don't...
What'd you get, Siobhan?
I said 13.
Okay. It actually doesn't make itself very secretive. I'm going to actually say some of the stuff is wiped away as well. When you look at all the spots that are bleeding, the smaller areas that are bleeding, there's like a pinhole where everything is coming out of, where the blood is actually coming out of. And it's, even if you wipe it away, it still seeps out a little bit more blood, even though he's now on his stomach.
So I did like have my do my fingers on his wrist, checking for I guess just see if there is still some kind of heartbeat for any reason.
You find no heartbeat.
So now I'm trying to figure out how he's still bleeding.
The necrosis also is getting larger. Since just starting to look at it, it's about 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters extended farther out on all sides. The rest of the people in the place, mind you, some are upset. Some of the military are actually attempting to use communications. 2 of them are successful to use communications because there is now a blackout on the communications here as well. They are preparing to organize like a search to figure out what caused this, and if anybody actually attacked the Admiral.
So there's pinholes going up and down his spine as well as...
Like on the sides and the back as well as on the spine, yeah.
What kind of...
consistent with every single rib?
From your knowledge of human anatomy, possible. But it goes down farther. Well, it doesn't mean she knows a lot about anatomy. It does go farther down than where the ribs should be. Because remember where the kidney is, there's no ribs there. There's also what looks to be, if you explore further a little bit, there's some on the shoulders. If you look at on his belly now, there's actually some seepage coming from his front now that he's actually laying on his face, including even one pinhole prick right here in the middle of his forehead.
So I want to do an look and see if any of the pinholes seem to like exactly match up. Like if you were to take a pin and stick it straight through, would it fit through 2 clean holes, or would it need
to go from one to the other like stitches?
Yeah.
It does not look like it. It actually looks like it's just a small pinhole prick into this flesh, and that's it. Anybody, actually on this one, I would actually recommend, give me, if either of you have it, alien cultures.
I think I do, actually.
Alien
I've
cultures.
got it, but I don't have any points in it. It's like medicine. I don't have any points in it.
Nope, I don't have it.
Okay.
I've got knowledge, but I don't have alien cultures. Damn.
I think one of you... Yeah, cultures or alien
15.
cultures. 15?
I got 15 for alien races.
Not on that one.
Medicine.
And let me...
I can't think of anything that would do this.
Let me take a look and see what we have on bystanders. On if there's anything they would have told you. I think some of these were created. Okay, I did have that one, good. And under, it would be knowledge.
The fact that it's still, the necrosis is still spreading and that he is still bleeding is concerning. I'm wondering if this isn't a poison at all, but if these pinpricks put something or some things inside of him and they're slowly eating him.
Something's eating it. Let me see. I'm going to actually say one of the women actually do look over and kind of fighting through the retching of the disgusting rotting spot. She makes a comment to one of the other officers, the lieutenant herself, wondering if the Admiral had gone to the spa today.
That's why we need the contact.
Yeah, kind of. And did the lieutenant does actually, Lieutenant Yama does actually confirm he did go to the spa. It's his celebration for his promotion. Of course he would go to the spa. Livia, which is the one that's actually making the comment, because the pattern of the pinpricks looks like what they do in the spa for acupuncture. And he is just bleeding out of all the holes from the acupuncture.
So, I'm not that familiar with acupuncture, but it doesn't actually go deep enough for you to bleed, does it? Normally?
Nope.
It goes a couple of layers down into the skin, but the needle is so thin, like a 32 gauge or smaller, that A, it doesn't hurt, and B, it doesn't bleed.
Yeah.
But if he's got accelerated necrosis, then he could be those simple injuries. Just having them there would start rotting out as well. So this isn't how it went in, I don't think. It's something with the kidney. Although it would be striking both kidneys, it might be the gallbladder, because that's in the same area.
That's of course out of game. Let me see.
That's assuming he has 2 kidneys. I mean, it is possible that he only has 1 kidney.
It's possible, but I don't think you'd get the Admiral with only 1. He wouldn't be able to be front line.
There's a lot of admirals in the stories that are actually wounded.
I wonder if he drank something. If he drank something and as it was being processed through the kidneys, that was how this was.
That's kind of what I was thinking, but it would be being processed through both kidneys, not just one.
And the liver if it's alcoholic, because pretty much everybody's drinking from the same bar.
And then there's also, other than the regular bleeding in the mouth, it would be bleeding in the stomach and esophagus and all of that.
Yep.
And it would have to go through the small intestines. It wouldn't be to the large yet.
We need to find that
already.
Can you do your thing to possibly find her?
You don't know that I have a thing to do. If Draz'iw were here, she could do the thing, and you could ask her since you know her.
I don't. I know you about as well as I know them.
It's been pretty much. It's been.
She's a Jedi.
It's been pretty much apparent since you were training with Rezik on the ship, that he would have actually seen it at some point.
Yeah. I told him. I told Rezik so I could get some training.
Yeah.
But I told him not to tell anybody else.
It's training on the ship though is a little bit difficult in private.
Not in my stateroom. We worked that out. We really did.
Okay.
It was he and I in my room.
Anyway. Well, you said you did a meditative thing that I'd watched, because I made food one day and
that was the only thing I would have been as the meditative stance then. Okay. Do you have a search in general? Well, actually, no. Your search is actually really low to begin with. Let me see.
Trying to see if I got anything that would actually work in this situation. The only thing I can see is life sense, and that really wouldn't. That would just let me see if he was alive, which he's obviously not.
Believe that would also let you in on the possible location for the Twi'lek that ran off.
Let me see. I'm looking it up. Life sense. Use may sense the presence and identify an identity of a specific person for whom she's searching. Sense how badly wounded, deceased, or otherwise physically disturbed the target is. Target may hide the identity from the Jedi using life sense by rolling control skill. Okay. Very easy, modified by proximity and relationship. And since I only saw her from across the room, that's going to be a difficult plus.
Yep.
Totally unknown. So I have no chance.
Well, there's the wild die.
Well, there's a very easy for the difficulty and the life sense, and then it would be, yeah, where was...
Yeah, no, I only got a 2 on my wild die. No chance. So I used it, I tried.
Met once. Line of sight, out of sight, I would say a 5, and a 15, a 20, plus the 5 on the, yeah, it's like a 25 difficulty.
Yeah,
just,
and I got 10.
Yeah. You don't see her.
Well, sensor.
Yeah, or sensor, I should say, yeah.
And we didn't get it.
When you use the power, though...
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I'm going to actually say that and that. That'll make the difficulty on that at least, and it's not resisting. When you use the power, you do notice one thing. While the Admiral is dead, turning blue, bleeding all over the place anyways, you do still sense a life force...
A parasite.
Right there.
Some sort.
I knew it.
And give me one more perception.
We don't need Draz'iw. We can do it.
13.
13?
Yep.
His left hand begins to twitches.
Okay. Naw-Tor, give me one of your knives. Thank you. Cut from about here on the palm, up his arm to about here.
Let me do that one more time. To about where?
To about mid-forearm.
Okay.
Straight up.
Mind you, the other military officers are automatically going, what the hell are you doing? Mutilating the body of the Admiral.
The body is decomposing. I am checking something because there's something under his hand.
Persuasion.
Or con.
Or con, either way. Yeah, I'll go con or persuasion, either way.
16 for con.
The command it was one. It's the. I believe she has the rank of commander. Yeah, she has a rank of commander. Does actually give you a look. Pretty much just start. I will indicates that she's going to monitor you, and warns you be very respectful. Go ahead and actually slice through, and just as you actually put the knife to the skin and put pressure on it and start slicing into the flesh, the blood just starts just oozing out. Just continuously. You slice
what
up.
comes with it?
Just red blood.
And go down the arm.
Yep. Was this? I forgot to ask. I forgot to check. Was this the the arm that twitched a little?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I held up my left arm.
Yeah, I had the window changed. You slice down the arm, and all it does is start to bleed.
Oh, that's odd.
It did twitch.
It did twitch.
Yeah.
The commander does actually make a note. It's a little early to start having the body twitch.
Yeah. Where did I sense the life in the body?
Roll it again.
Asshole. 12 this time.
Pretty much throughout the body.
Okay. Get a wine glass or a piece of glass that's somewhere nearby, because I'm assuming that he probably dropped the glass he was drinking from, and smear some blood on it and hold it real close to my eye and try to look at it.
Okay.
Up to the light to see if I can see anything.
With the naked eye, give me your perception search spot roll.
Okay, well, I got a 1 on the wild die. So that leaves 7.
Okay. Coming in close. And you get nothing. And you do notice that maybe you got a little too close to the blood to begin with.
Wonderful. Naw-Tor, your vision's sharper than mine. Take a look and see if you see anything in the blood.
Who do you tell this to?
Who is it?
Yes, you. That's why I said Naw-Tor.
Roll a 1. Roll a 1.
Hey, it's the opposite of a 1.
There you go.
Yay!
So that's a 15.
Okay. Looks like drying blood. Looks like drying blood. If you had some scientific equipment.
Infected for no reason.
Possibly. You know.
So
the left hand stops twitching and starts to curl in.
So just for the record, for my wrist blade, for the blades that I got, is it just like I click a button and they spring out?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanting to make sure.
Make sure you also remember those are considered melee.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well,
and not like
you.
punching and stuff like that. It's still the fist, but these are melee. But the melee, actually having those blades when you need them, I'll tell you right now, comes in handy when you have to do a melee parry, and you're punching somebody that has a blade.
Let me put it this way. My dexterity is 2 dice. I have nothing in melee or melee parry.
Work on it.
I'll just keep these for cool factor.
The commander is actually still monitoring him and has asked pretty much now. She's actually just staying very close to him right now, along with the lieutenant, because the Admiral and everybody above them has ordered them to kind of stick with him for right now, because this is very mysterious.
So, with my history of being a Mandalorian and dealing with, fighting dead people all the time, when is it normal for their hands to, clench at all?
Not this early.
I wouldn't give it to you normally, but I'll say it anyways. Pretty much anything you would have been involved in. The only thing it would be that you would have experienced this, where it was a twitching on the fingers or twitching in the body, would be on a large battlefield, all troops, and well after the battle is done, and it's now cleanup time, you might have enough time to start this reaction with any kind of body, where the electrical impulses are caused through the chemicals in the body breaking down. And the electrical impulses cause peripherals to twitch or even sit up, depending on where the actual electrical impulse has happened. Normally, it's even after rigor mortis, if I remember correctly, sets in. And this has had no time for rigor mortis to even set in.
Right.
So, way too early. He's way too fresh for any twitching or chemical breakdown or anything for electrical impulses to actually trigger that.
Unless it's could have. I'm not gonna ask that question out loud. So I'll just keep that one to myself.
Okay. The captain, yeah.
I'm completely stumped.
The captain does actually start ordering people that are in this place to start lining up. Because they want to have a few of the troopers search everybody for anything. As well as he orders around a few people. Actually, after 2 of them that will be searched, they will be assigned to looking for the, and his words, Twi'lek whore that ran away. And to see if she is hiding someplace. Mind you, at that point they'll actually, glance at Draz, but then, the captain corrects them to explain, no, not that one. The one that the Admiral was with. They're humans. I mean,
She's very faithful and doesn't get paid for it at all.
They're a bunch of human Imperials. If it's alien, it's bad. The commander and the lieutenant do actually stick with the Admiral's body. So everybody starts lining up. Do you guys line up along with?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
I'm still examining.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still just still examining body.
Yeah. Look at the one of the 2 that's in charge, probably the other admiral or commander, and go, okay, body's twitching, and it's like it's 4 or 5 days old into decomposition, but it's not. This is far too fast. I didn't see any wounds, but the necrosis is advanced, so I don't know. I think there might be a parasite or something in here, and I thought it would be big enough, so that's why I started with the hand. If one of your troopers or you or somebody has a medical emergency kit, not a med pack because I've got that, but if you got an emergency kit, I need the diagnostic scanner from in that to be able to say any more, because there's no other injuries on him.
One of the servants for the place does actually overhear that and kind of points up. Yes, there is a med kit in the corner for emergencies. It's all over. They are fashioned all over the resort, just in case.
Would you go get it, please?
Sir, she looks over at the captain. Can I? Gives her permission, basically, and then she runs off to get the kit. She does return with a full setup med kit. It's a little bit more advanced even than the normal med kit that's in the books.
Oh, nice.
With the equivalent of an AED, as well as the med packs that would actually be in there, the 10 variations of the med packs, AED, a couple of syringes and such like that.
All right.
It's a well-stocked place.
Scanner.
Okay.
Get the scanner and start using it on him.
Okay. At that point, I would say roll your first aid again, and let's see what you can find.
Is it bad that I just want to take the paddles and just shock him and see what happens?
If you've ever gone through the EMT training or emergency medical or any kind of medicine, you always want to see what that actually does.
I've been to more CPR classes than I care to count because my dad actually teaches CPR.
Yeah.
He is a paramedic.
Yeah.
So
you always want to see what happens.
18 plus whatever the med kit gives me.
Give me add 1 die to that, just so I can Should be enough to get
So
enough.
21 total.
Okay, that's plenty actually for a lot of this. For a body that's supposed to be 98.6 degrees, converted to Celsius for the metric system, whatever. He's running a temperature of 102. The scanner actually shows you his body heat itself also. It is registering no life. It is registering no brainwave, no brain activity, no pulse. It does actually show the necrosis as a cold spot. Nothing else moving within him as well.
Nothing else moving will fit him?
Well, no, within him.
Oh, okay.
Like you're not actually detecting parasites or anything like that. Yeah. But it might be too small for the scanner, might be too alien for the scanner, or they just might not be there.
Almost wish we had a poisoner here. I don't know. I'm out of ideas.
While you're actually discussing the results on the scanner, you get another really, really heavy reaction in the force. Everything for Siobhan darkens slightly. You don't lose your standard visibility. You don't lose any of your senses. It just, everything goes to a darker hue as a reaction to what you're sensing. The Admiral, lying on the couch at about that point, reaches over extremely fast, faster than a human's supposed to actually move, grabs the lieutenant, and yanks her down.
Can I react?
Yes,
okay,
but at an initiative.
We are in initiative?
It would be against an initiative.
Hey! 10.
12.
Because I don't need wrist blades to do my job.
12, and all I'm doing is moving backwards.
Yeah. We got the smart one here.
The zombie's sitting up, you know? The zombie's sitting up and grabbing people. I'm not staying around.
Siobhan gets the first action.
Ah!
Ah! Run!
Fall backwards and do a somersault backwards onto my feet and start backing away.
Okay. You give a good 10 meters back, basically. Any other action?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much no.
That leads to Naw-Tor, who gets the next action.
Almost out of instinct, I'm just gonna punch him.
Okay.
Of course. Punches
no, it's completely reasonable, believe me.
So,
it's a door that won't open. It's made of plasteel. Let's punch it.
So I'm dropping a die for Terrakasi.
Okay.
To use its ability. $26 to hit.
You connect easily.
This is a punch.
The punch.
This is just a flat-fisted punch.
Okay.
No fancy toys.
That's right, because I don't think, you didn't bring the shock gauntlets with you, did you?
You said I couldn't.
Well, you could if you hid them, but you wouldn't have them on right now.
He's got his bracers on.
Oh yeah, the braces. 22 damage. Goes against that, and it looks like it might have taken a wound.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it has any intentions on caring. It does the stereotypical, reaches out, grabs the lieutenant. I didn't want to take on the commander yet.
I'm assuming these wrist blades aren't heavy enough to actually give me a bonus to damage when I'm punching things.
No.
Okay.
Only as a melee, basically. I'm keeping those as a melee. Definitely makes a connection. Definitely makes the damage. Let's see what she can actually soak. She can soak a lot for that amount of dice. Holy cow. Okay, you do not want to know how much I just rolled for damage. Everything came up 6s except for a 5.
Oh, jeez.
The lieutenant lets out a scream because it you know, that's what you do when you're being attacked by a zombie or a walker or whatever you want to call them. Reaches out, grabs her, and actually bites straight into her throat.
Oh, that's easy.
Closing down around the esophagus, the throat, and literally just biting all the way through and just coming back with a chunk missing out of her throat. It was a lot of damage.
Black. Yeah. All right.
This is what it did to her. She is, of course, the only thing she's going to be. I mean, I have to consider her dead, even though technically she would be, you know, choking on her own blood and dying at the same time for the next few seconds. She at least goes into shock without the ability to actually breathe properly, eyes open, going. Ah. And yeah, the commander then jumps away, pulls out a pistol from a hidden shoulder rig, fires it at the zombie-looking thing, all by instinct, just like Naw-Tor, really.
Good instincts.
I'm not going to bother with rolling that wild die, because it's a 6 and everything else was 5s, on something that really isn't defending itself.
Oh, yeah, I was about to ask. When I tried to punch it, did it even seem to...
Didn't seem to care.
Awesome.
It did that much damage, which is 22. That's how much it soaked, which is garbage. But, wait, that actually gets taken out. It took a huge amount of hole through it. The soak was not anywhere near the damage that I just rolled.
Mm-hmm.
The blast from the blaster that she pulls out, mind you, not very sportsmanlike to bring a blaster into the dinner, which someone does actually go, my word. Blasts a hole through the Admiral's chest sideways. The only reaction the zombie thingy gives is it does get blown backwards and then looks at her very menacingly.
Okay.
Let's go to Siobhan.
Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to do very much. I grab a chair or something near me and throw it at the Admiral as hard as I can.
Okay.
That's about all I can do.
Ah! Pretty much, yeah. Thrown weapon under dexterity. Let's see your attack roll.
Working on it.
There's a kitty in the way.
I have decided that it's going to be.
Well, you know what? Skip the attack roll. I rolled a 0 for the attack roll. As long as you actually, as long as you roll a wild die and doesn't come up as a 1, you're fine. Let's see.
Came up as a 3.
There you go. Let's give it a strength, your strength plus 1d for a chair.
Which, that should be 3d plus 2, I believe. So 4, 5, 8, 10 total.
Hits him, bounces right off of him. Chair falls to the floor. Bounce, 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 bounce.
My turn?
Yep.
Let's try this again, activating Terracosti one more time.
Okay.
Just a punching 13.
Doubt you'd do anything. Yep, you hit him.
For the record, just so you are aware, Terracosti Vital Strike lets me take away half of my brawling dice and add it to damage, and that's what I did.
Yep.
How's a 29?
For damage?
Yes.
This thing is taking a beating.
And can I put myself in between it and the captain?
The commander?
Yeah.
Well, the commander and the lieutenant were by the admiral. Captain was farther away. So you want to put yourself in between the commander?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, whoever shot him.
The commander.
Yeah.
Okay. You throw a punch at this thing. You feel its entire chest collapse. Just under the weight of your punch, mind you, which is pretty nice. Dead in the center, collapse it. It would drop a Wookiee. Even if it didn't kill the Wookiee, it would at least drop the Wookiee because you just pushed on his heart. It did take damage. Its ribs cracked, broke, and it even looks like it's a little concave now. Or was it convex? I can't remember.
Concave.
Concave. It falls to the floor and is still moving.
Okay.
Zombie dude turn.
Mm-hmm. Please tell me he tries to attack me. Awesome.
Yes, he does.
You're the only one in range.
And you're in the way of the one that shot him through the chest. Sideways. It jumps up and just comes at you.
Okay.
Hands looking like claws, even though he's got nice and perfectly manicured fingers. But he comes fast. It's fast zombie. This is more like 28 Days Later rage zombie. 2 kill Naw-Tor. I have 10, 11, 17 on the table.
I get to parry, don't I?
23. Yeah, I'm just rolling my attack. You get the parry.
Mm-hmm. If I
got a 32 because my wild die kept rolling 6s.
Okay. I have a defense skill.
Okay.
Called Power Block.
Mm-hmm.
And okay. So I don't know if I rolled my Terracosti for that or Brawling Parry. I'm not sure.
I will actually say whichever's higher.
Okay. And is it harder for him to hit me since I have Terracosti or not?
Yes. If you're using the Terracosti, yes. It will be harder for him to hit. There's a higher difficulty.
So yeah, using Terror Custard to defend myself. Or, is it Power Block? Yeah, I might as well use Power Block. Ah! Yeah, you.
And this is why brawling is not useful against zombies and skeletons.
It will be. It's great against skeletons.
Well, that's true. Cutting and slashing isn't. Or piercing.
Yeah, piercing. It's not often I find a storyteller that actually goes, okay, and you do almost no damage because you're using a spear. But I rolled a 50.
Yeah, it's a zombie. You have to bash it apart in order to kill it. The spear goes through it. Okay.
I think
it's still coming at you.
I think it was reduced damage from bashing on zombies, reduced damage on piercing, and maybe slashing for skeletons.
It's slashing and piercing. They take. Oh no, zombies. They take damage from slashing.
Yeah.
I rolled a 33.
Yes.
Block. I did burn a character point for the record.
Good, because yeah, I rolled a 33 because of that stupid wild die I kept rolling, and that would have been bad for you.
Wait, no, 34 out of +1 hit from
Okay. Okay.
Wait a second, I've got another +2 in
It all counts. I'm defending.
Oh, I'm gonna use a force point too.
It does not get a grapple. It does not get a grapple on you, but it is fighting to get a grapple on you.
Hold on, I used Power Block.
Mm-hmm. Which does.
So if the character rolls successfully, a successful parry inflicts strength +1d to the attacker.
Go for it. It's still trying to grapple at you, but it's failing basically. But
I'm
go ahead and
start just breaking its limbs.
Break limbs.
Yeah. So as it's like trying to grapple me, I'm just gonna like shoulder charge. I'm just gonna shove my shoulder, trying to dislocate that shoulder.
Okay.
So that's a 16.
16 will beat my. Nope, it does not beat my 21.
Okay.
Does not beat the 21 there. And that was his attack. Its attack, really.
Can I take a free action and see if any of the officers has like a ceremonial or dress sword on them that I can grab?
I'm trying to think if anybody would actually have anything. The officers do not. The military, the Imperial officers do not. There are two that are off in the. If you look at the picture at the bottom, a little kind of to the right, there are two cowled. Two.
I can't. I've got my computer. It's completely hosed, and I'm having to restart it.
Okay, it's actually a green Twi'lek and another one. I think it's a human. Both of them wearing the wraps on the heads and the cowl over the face and everything like that. They do actually kind of motion going, oh yeah. They pull swords out of their own and take a short or a long dagger. One of them pulls out a long dagger. And when I say long dagger, it's like a kukri kind of style, that length of a very heavy machete. Curved the opposite direction than a kukri. And
a Kopesh.
A Kopesh, yeah. Thank you. And kind of tosses it over to you.
Okay.
And they pull out their swords. They're like coming to, going, oh yeah, that's right. We're armed, and we use these things.
What does the commander
and I look at the stormtroopers who are standing around going, shoot it!
Commander's shooting the thing again. Let's see. Wild die does not like humans. Let's see if the zombie dodged. Nope. Zombie doesn't care. Let's see. We got a 23 damage. And we got ourselves, that's a 6, that's a 6, that's a 6, that's an 18. That's a 23. That's a 23 soak and a 23 damage.
So if it's not immune to stun, oh no, you have to have at least a 1 to stun. Damn it.
Well, no, she didn't put it on stun. She's got it on kill because, holy crap, it's a zombie.
Damage chart.
Oh, no. Oh, it's been taking damage. There's a hole through it sideways. You completely decimated its chest. This one has actually shot its pecs, and all it did was put a burn mark in it. So it's taking damage and bleeding all over the place. But it has not stopped it.
God damn it.
I'm going to give the other two with the swords an action next round, next go over. But that leaves it to Siobhan.
Okay, Siobhan is swinging the Kapesh.
Yay!
The pop into lightsaber.
Yeah.
Target the arm.
Remember this thing.
Yeah.
22, 23.
Yeah, it hits.
23 points.
Yeah, it hits. Was that damage, 23?
Give me a weapon in my hand. No.
Give me damage. I'm going to say it on the Kopesh. I'm going to say strength plus 2. 2D. 2D plus strength.
So...
Ooh.
Wait a second.
Slashing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Definitely beats my 13. Because I rolled a wild die of 1. Nice exploder. Used everything for that one attack on Naw-Tor. I'm glad it's failed, because this is actually pretty dangerous. You actually take the slice. You slice it down on its arm. And it cuts through. It cuts through the skin, the muscle. It cuts through all of the bone in its tricep, leaving only a little bit of flesh dangling the arm. The arm itself, just dangling as it is, and Mr. Admiral doesn't seem to care. Mind you, it's one arm down because he can't move it. It's not really attached enough to move. But it does actually jet out a huge amount of blood when it actually happens. Let me actually put the two sisters underneath Siobhan right there. They actually go in on the zombie thing, taking your cue to leg the sucker. They hit. And oops.
Oops.
Yeah, that's a hit too. That's a lot of high numbers.
Never a good thing when your DM says oops.
Well, it was just their swing against it, really. That's the... Oh, God. That's 22, 25, 27 to soak, whatever they do. Not enough. Maybe. Nope, not enough. They actually do not do enough damage to the legs to knock them out. They don't even do damage to the body. Naw-Tor.
I'm going to decide to punch it twice.
Punch twice.
His head. His head.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Okay, called shot is going to... you're doing called shot to the head?
What would that reduce it by?
Difficulty the difficulty would go up by, well, I'm going to say it's 2 levels, so like 10.
Versus whatever his parry is.
Right,
also.
versus whatever his, parry.
He has a parry?
Kinda. It's his parry for everything. His parry and his dodge are like 2 dice that I roll to see if he actually cares.
Oh.
And I add that to the difficulty of the actual attack.
I'm debating on how much I'm wanting to Vital Strike. So that's for multiple action penalty. And that will be my Vital Strike.
Okay.
No, 2.
Roll him! I'm gonna find his. I'm gonna roll his soak roll. Because I know you're gonna hit sooner or later.
So that one's an 11.
The first attack's 11?
First attack's 11.
It hits.
Awesome. So that's that, plus punch.
Is this the damage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Damage of the first punch.
Okay.
Hey, look at that. Damn it! I know one of you was a 6 and one of you was a 4, but I don't know what you were. Alright, so 31.
That'll knock his block off. 31 minus 26. He's got 5 damage. He did 5 damage worth onto his skull. Yeah, broke his nose and kind of inset it a little bit there. Let's see the second roll.
Let's see the second roll.
Because I know you can do more damage than that. Doesn't help that he's...
This is like when I threw one of the sandworms from Dune at my characters.
17 to hit.
Did
That'll hit.
They shot it and did something like 75 points of damage to it. I said, okay, half its face vaporizes, but it's still coming at you. And they're like, oh! Oh, shit!
Yeah, my fighter in 5th edition. I do this strike, I do this strike, I do this strike. You do a total of 327 points of damage. Yay! Its turn. You know. What?
Uh-huh. You heard it. It's pissed.
28 for the second.
28 points of damage. It soaks 24.
That's
and it's
9 total to the head.
Go. Well, you rolled 28, right? Or you roll 38? 28, right?
Yeah, I'm adding it together.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, 9 total for the head. It's actually showing signs of slowing down.
Wow.
My turn.
At this point, my character is just yelling and screaming in Mandoa. Die!
Ah! What the hell? We gotta find the words for hell.
I don't think it's the poison anymore.
We have to find the words for hell. We really do, so we can actually find it in Mandoa. You know.
Oh, actually,
go back to the. Yeah, you gotta find gotta find a good curse for sending it back to the hell from whence it came. It's actually going to attack Naw-Tor again. It got 10, 20, 22, 25, 27.
Right, let's power block you.
It's making an attempt to attack you using 27 as the attack. Let's see what the power block does for you.
Or, actually, the power block will do more. The other one would be funny, because the other defense is to flip him.
Oh, I can flip him. Yeah.
Actually, that could knock him prone.
If you flipped him, yeah, it would knock him definitely prone.
What the hell? Let's try to flip him.
Okay.
Like, is he just punching me with his other arm?
More of a grapple to try and grab you.
Okay. He rolled a what? 20 something?
27, yeah.
Guinness, the gamer's beer.
$30.
30 definitely does it. Let me see. It was a 27. You got 30 with the flip.
Well, it says, then may attempt a flip. Success indicates that the attacker has been flipped, knocked down, and suffers 3d physical damage.
Okay, give it the 3d, yeah.
He's prone for you guys now. Stab him.
Woo!
I don't think that 13 is going to do anything, but...
Actually... Give me 2d more damage. I just rolled a complete complication on a soak roll. So give me an extra 2d of damage.
So 23 in total.
23 damage?
Do I rip his arm off?
You do. Yeah. That's like an extra 10 points of damage on its own when the only part of his body you're holding onto is his arm. And the reason, one of the things they never explore with a lot of the zombie stuff, basically, and why they're dangerous, and why they can grab on and why they can actually dig into your flesh, they're using all of their strength. But, you know, all the strength that a human being and a human mind doesn't actually tap into. Plus, he's doing damage to himself in the process, so all his muscles are actually worn out just from actually biting and grabbing and trying to get to you guys. So yeah, when you flip him, his arm just literally just rips right out of the socket. And now he's prone on the ground. Which comes back to Siobhan.
No, it comes back to Commander.
Is it Commander? Oh yeah, that's right, Commander.
And probably any of the impies that want to shoot at it.
They ain't doing shit. It was just the Commander that actually brought the gun. Because she's the only one with a suit that actually...
don't have guns?
They're pretty much guarding the doors on like the outside primarily. They're not even on the inside. And let's see if she does the complication because the wild die exploded.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Her blaster? Her blaster runs out of power.
Figures. My fists won't run out of power.
Nope. Neither will the blades. Siobhan!
Right through the neck.
Okay.
If you don't kill it, I'm gonna punch it twice again and put its brains across the ground. Or I'm just gonna beat it to death with its own arm.
Let's see. It's a called shot on the neck, so I'm going to put it up 2 levels. He's on the ground prone, and melee against prone, I'm going to say automatically you get a little bit of bonus there to knock off some difficulties. I'm going to say just 1 level because of the focused shot or the called shot. So you have to beat 11.
And I got 18.
Yeah, do damage.
All right, so strength plus 2, D.
There you go.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11 damage. It actually takes it like a champ.
Oh shit, you pisser.
It rolled 19 for the soak. The sisters.
Let the Mandalorian do all the work.
The sisters. Ooh. Ha! This
a
might.
Good hot or a bad hot?
Bad for the sisters.
Oh.
Good for the zombie.
Bad for
well,
the sisters.
I still get to punch it.
Yes, you do. Let's see how much damage the zombie did. Because they botched all their shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god. While it's on the ground, with no arms, Christ. Let me see. That's 5. That's 10, 16, it's 20. It pushes out to slide itself across the floor a little bit and latches onto one of the sister's legs.
With its mouth?
With its mouth.
Okay.
She screams.
Okay.
Let me see if the other sister has better luck. It really should. Definitely better luck on the connect. That's a lot of damage. She's pissed off her sister is wounded. So that's a 25 for the damage. And
you're muted, I think.
Nope, I was just breathing. The blade, the sword, actually comes down, cuts right through the neck, which was the last plan, chopping it clean off. The body just completely goes limp. The head is still latched on to the leg and is squeezing even more.
All right.
Oh, it's chewing now.
My turn?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I softened it up for you on the next thing.
Are you going to punch the head, which is attached to the leg? No,
I'm
you're not.
I'm gonna shove 2 fingers through the eyes, and my other hand is gonna grab the jaw, and I'm just gonna rip it apart.
Okay. Well,
is that 2 actions or is that 1 action?
I'm gonna say 2 actions. Ripping it off and then ripping it apart. Which basically, by the difficulty that I just rolled, just make sure that your attack is better than 5. Seriously, it's a head on a leg. It's not like it's...
And yes.
Yeah,
so
it's not dodging. I mean...
3 for that, 3 for that, 1 for that.
Give me a damage roll for the first one to see if you get it off the leg first.
All right.
That's the wrong set of dice. That's the right set of dice.
22.
22 gets it off the leg.
All right.
And
now to rip it in half.
Now to rip it in half.
Smith boots, you are wonderful.
Wow.
That's the juice.
Better be really high.
Kind of. 26.
All right. So far I got 19. I got 21. Okay. Basically, I'm trying to gauge it because you grabbed it by the eyes and you grabbed the other part by what, the jaw?
Yeah.
Just to rip it apart. I'm checking to see if it was stronger than your arms. Otherwise, it might have closed down on your hand, which would be bad. It starts to actually feel like you're ripping the jaw out of the socket, but not yet. Since it can't do anything except for maybe try to close its mouth, I'm going to actually try that with you for its action, unless somebody wants to try and actually beat it up while you literally have it in your hands.
Here, can I do this? Click the buttons for my blades?
On your action.
Okay.
Mind you're going to let everybody know you got blades in the place.
It's a little... Okay.
You got a zombie running around. Do I really care?
Yeah, if they're worried about the blades, I would not be worried about the blades. I'd be more worried about what my fists can do. Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you want me to roll?
I would have said strength against strength, but I'm going to give you a strength plus 1 die for leverage. Yeah. You better roll an exploding die, by the way.
Guess what?
Sounds like an exploding to me.
I hope so. I really hope so. Because this is technically damage against damage at this point.
24.
27.
So wounded.
I rolled a lot of 6s.
Okay.
And none of them were on the wild die.
Thank goodness.
It's bad enough with the 6s. The jaws actually, you have your fingers in its eyes, and the eyes are just popped. They're just destroyed. It literally just closes down on your other hand, though, and starts to squeeze on it and starts to bite through any protective glove or skin you had on that hand. And it is obviously doing damage to your hand.
That's fine.
Give me another roll for your attack against it, strength roll. To try and actually. Oh, the buttons. For activating it, plus you have your hand in there, you're only going to be able to actually activate one.
So the one that's in its eyes, that's going to go straight through the brain.
Yeah, that's the only one you're going to be able to actually activate, to tell you the truth. But go ahead and actually, I would say roll damage for that one. What did I give you the damage on that one? It was as a vibroblade, right? Or didn't have, or I can't remember if it was vibro.
It was a force blade, if I recall correctly.
The one's in his, the one.
I got them for vibro, but it says strength plus 2d. That's what I got.
Right.
Wow, that's what I got from my needles.
Yep.
I don't know how well it's gonna be able to, although it's a zombie, so it's got some kind of baloney against this.
No, it's more like just how he can withstand damage, basically, is the only thing he really has. His physical strength and how much to actually do it. You are doing damage to it. What did I roll? Oh yeah, that's a 5. That's a 5. That's a 4. You actually do manage to get the blade out, goes through the skull, through the head, through the brain. It lets go of your left hand. When it does, or was it the right hand? Either way, it lets go of the other hand, and it hurts like fire when it lets go of your hand.
Come on!
But you have the skull stuck on the blade through the brain. It came all the way through the brain, through the head, and it's just...
What do you want me to do? Yeah, it bit you.
You have the
med pack. Use it.
You use it on me.
Looking around, you do look around a little bit, and you can notice there's a lot of blood. It's everywhere. When the arm was ripped off, a huge gout sprayed the sisters.
Oh, wonderful.
When the arm was cut off, it got all over Siobhan. When Naw-Tor is fighting with this thing and it's just dripping all over him, and it bit through his hand. The commander has a little dot right here. To be fair, Naw-Tor got in front of her.
Yeah, I did. That's my intention to,
To be fair, Naw-Tor got in front of her. It's not because she's like an uber character that I'm like going, oh, this is a super spy or super, look, it's the Red Sparrow, I can do anything I want. No, it's just because Naw-Tor got in the way. A couple of the other people from the other side of the room are even sitting there going, "It's on my dress. Oh my lord!" And everybody's running around trying to find a way of getting out. The stormtroopers have their blasters pointed at the doors on the opposite sides because it is on lockdown. The only person that could maybe open the lockdown is the Admiral. The lower leveled Admiral that's in there. Or were
Not
they
the
both
one that I
Admirals?
have on my blade.
No, not the one you have on your blade. There was a second Admiral that was in there. He was just, he's not in his dress, like super fine white suit, because, you know, I just got promoted. I'm going to wear my fancy stuff.
This is like a Friday fight.
There's blood all over the floor. It's on the couches. It's everywhere. It's just weird on how much that actually got everywhere. It is starting to solidify, just like it's supposed to. It's starting to get tacky and sticky, and the whatever's left of the corpse, because you dismembered it before you got the head, is not really bleeding anymore. It's oozing-ish what it's got left by gravity, but not pushing blood out of all of its orifices and ones that have been just made. The necrosis on the back of his back, though, does still continue to rot quickly.
So with the Admiral's head on one blade, I look at the lieutenant.
You got a spot right here. You need to get that off before you get inside.
No, that was the commander. The lieutenant's on the other side of the, actually.
Throat shoot out.
Oh, that's right. The lieutenant got the throat shoot out. She is dead.
I'm waiting. I'm just gonna stand over her, let someone else fix my fucked up hand, because I'm just gonna wait. I'm not gonna crack.
Pretty much you have one sister being worked on using whatever they can yank out of the med kit for her leg. Her sister is writhing around in pain. You're actually in a tremendous amount of pain, to the point what I would actually say you're 2 wound levels. One because of the actual proper injury, and one because of pain. The pain is actually kind of marking you right now. The lieutenant, she's dead. And the 2 women that were with her, pretty much, the green and the red one, are off in the corner cowering. A lot of people are cowering. There's only maybe 1 or 2 just acting like the egotistical, my word, get this fixed, I'm dirty now, dry cleaning please. Pour me a drink.
I put my foot on the edge of the blade and push the skull off, and like just grab it with my normal hand, walk over to the bar, and just grab something. I don't care how dirty I am. I'm grabbing a drink that doesn't look that contaminated.
Oh yeah.
And I'm drinking. Just
pour it on your hand. They're sterilized. 151, let's light it.
Keep in mind, you poured over the wound. That's already enough shots in you as it is to get you drunk. And then you're drinking on top of it.
Oh, hey, actually, I'm a given. I need 3 times the amount.
I know. It's just along the lines. It's one of the things they forget to tell you in the movies and stuff. You're pouring it directly into the wound. You're now drunk. That's straight to the wound. That's straight to the bloodstream. It's not good.
Well, there's a problem because it's not sucking it up the capillaries and everything back to the heart. Because those are going to empty out.
So this is where I sit down, just like I'm assuming someone fixed up my hand somehow.
They will. Somebody will actually be fixing up the hand there.
Just let them. I'm just Like, even though in this drunken state, I am watching the lieutenant just waiting for if that.
Are you
moves.
over by the bar and the couch are pretty far apart? Are you by the bar just waiting for the lieutenant to move?
No, I'll drag a chair over to her.
Okay. Bottle in one hand, blade still out in the other. Okay.
Well, no, I will have. Is it? How do I put the blade back? Do I just click the button again, or do I
just another?
Yeah, so I click the button again.
You Spider-Man. You Spider-Man push the button.
No, it's Assassin's Creed. Just.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm drinking from a bottle with that hand, the good hand, while they're working on the other. As I'm just like, I'm ready to just like crush her skull in with my foot, or then stab with the blade. I do not care anymore. If they want to come and restrain me, they'll fight a drunk Mandalorian that has nothing to lose.
Oh God. Give it a few minutes into it. Basically, they're still monitoring the lieutenant. Give me a perception / spot / search roll, depending on however you describe that skill.
Am I technically wounded twice still?
Yeah.
Okay, I cannot roll.
Okay, well, roll a 1 wild die. I always give at least a wild die to.
I got a 2.
What was it, Siobhan?
I've got a 1 on the wild die. Do I just toss it or what?
If you get the 1 on the wild die, I mean, well, how many? Did you only have 1 die? You have more dice, don't you?
No, I've got 3D plus 1 on
Okay,
perception.
roll the wild die one more time. If it's anything from 1 to 5, you just take out the wild die and the highest die you got. If it's a 6, it's a complication, and you do the same thing, but it's also a complication.
Right. Then I got total of 6.
Total of 6. Total of 6 gives you. Yeah, you wouldn't see that one. You wouldn't see that one. You definitely wouldn't see her because she needs a lot more than that. You do actually get the sister that has the bite in the leg. Goes, I don't feel too good, and starts leaning back as she's sitting down on the floor.
God. Take her leg off. Take her leg off.
And I want to see. You know what? Give me one more sense roll for me, Siobhan.
God. Force zombie. Why is it always force zombies?
5? Total?
Yep.
Okay.
I rolled a 2 on the wild die, a 1 on the other die, and then there's +2.
Oh God. Give me a control roll. Oh Christ.
Oh, look at that. That's 13.
13. You actually felt the shadowy, cold, entity-ish fog kind of move in and literally tried to take you. You were able, yeah. It tried to get into your mind. You were able to push it out.
Well, good thing.
It's kind of a, I was hoping for a higher roll so you could actually notice more, but you rolled so low that it went to the bad side, where it's like, you're going to notice this.
Oh, God. It is definitely a force power, though, that I felt.
It was a force something. Yeah. Your sense roll, you wouldn't be able to actually pick it up. Force something. You got a 5, man. Come on. About the same time as that happens, you hear another one of those ear-piercing screams.
God damn it!
The sister is just a lot. She's actually kind of propped up on her elbows, but she's still breathing. She's still alive. The lieutenant is still dead.
Of course.
No change there. Not that you can see.
Who screamed?
You don't see it. You didn't. You couldn't see where it came from.
Wait, did I scream?
Nope.
Okay.
You do know it. You do still have a sense of yourself. You do not actually. You're not losing a sense of yourself. The best perception roll, I think, in the entire room would be probably this. And they didn't see the location for the scream. It kind of almost came out. It was, you can tell, well, I know Siobhan can tell. It did not come like a scream to your brain. It was actually an audible scream to your ear holes that you cannot place the source from or even the direction.
All right, someone just give me a bunch of drugs so I don't feel this pain anymore.
Only
something tells me I have to punch stuff pretty soon.
Only one person does have a vague general direction. Off to the very far left in the current one. I know Siobhan can't see it right now. The token kind of looks like some weird made up with prosthetics and god awful makeup. Uber elven goth. I've kind of marked it for people who can actually see that one. She looks like she's actually had so much plastic surgery that you don't want to call her human anymore. But she was at one time. What's that?
Which one?
All the way to the very far left. I'm in the wrong window, dummy. This one.
Okay.
And I just said, oh God, so.
You can't tell if it's like technological implants or if it's actually just cosmetic. She's looking in a specific general cone area going, what? That, I don't, where, she's like, it looks like she might have actually gotten a direction. So we do have blood. I have to figure out who's all covered in blood, who's wounded. I love it. She got bit. I love it.
I got.
And you got bit. That's awesome.
No.
I'm gonna have to take off your hand now, so if you'll just lay it on the table, I can. Come on.
Is the weirdo in this picture as well, or was it just the first one? Oh, the weirdo is still in this one too. So I'll ping that one because Siobhan is now looking at it.
Yeah, no, it's still loading up.
Okay.
Okay. Ping it now.
Something tells me I'm gonna have to be spending all of my character and force points not victim to this.
Maybe not. Yeah, she's the one with Captain Kirk. Yes, I stole the picture from Captain Kirk because it was in the pile. I don't care. I needed a posh human. So
okay, if you think that's posh.
We're guinea pigs. That's what this is. We're just guinea pigs for their biological weapon.
With Imperials being affected?
Yeah.
Yes. They'll use it against their own people. They don't care. There's always more humanoids to train.
At this point, I do want to actually probably pause it until next time because I do want the other two here to have them put their input in to try and figure out where it came from and how to stop it or how to get out of it.
Because this is Project Blackwing, isn't it? This is Project Blackwing.
I don't know Blackwing, so.
Death Troopers. Have you read the book Death Troopers?
Oh yeah, I did read the book Death Troopers. Yes, Blackwing. Well, you have to keep in mind, I read it. I had a blast reading it. I do recognize it was a terrible, terrible book, but I still had a blast reading it because zombie Star Wars. Yeah, I'm in. I can say that it is not the same stuff as the same reason as Death Troopers. I can admit to that. Evident by the fact that these zombies can be killed.
Well, they could be killed too. It was just with fire.
Yeah, you had to burn them to ash. It wasn't a survival story. It was along the lines of just run. And seriously, who puts 2 people in solitary confinement? I'm like, yeah.
So
that's
Siobhan,
how they found 2 people in the. I'm sorry, it's weird.
So Siobhan, is Conrad gonna pay for a new hand after we have to cut this one off?
I have no earthly idea. You're gonna have to talk to him about that because injuries weren't negotiated.
Neither were being test puppets.
That's right. See, all that was negotiated for was the ship. So, I told y'all to try to negotiate a better deal.
Which leaves you all basically at this point with a question of, is it a force entity corrupting all of this? Is it a poison? Is it a disease? Is it a zombie uprising? Is it death? Blackwing, the weird organic goo that came from a plant.
No.
Hey,
no.
I read Red Harvest. Red Harvest was the prequel.
No.
Hey, if you want one of the books, you got to take both.
I actually haven't read either.
Oh, okay.
Is it the Children of the Ooze?
No.
For spoiler alert, it's a terrible book, but read it anyways.
I don't think my dad has it.
You'll get through it. Everybody will pretty much probably get through it going, that was terrible, terrible, terrible. I want to do it in a game.
It's the murmur, whatever, the thing that slowly begins liquefying your organs. The chiss actually have bounties out for. Like, the chiss actually have bounties out for whatever the ooze is. But it's like, you can't fight that. It's like, if you get it, you are dead.
You burn it. That's pretty much, yeah. You just burn them when they get it, and don't get it yourself, pretty much.
So I'll start making a new character.
I don't think you're gonna need it.
I'll make a Gendai. How about that? That one you
Gendai?
can't.
No. Okie dokie. No, my mission is not to kill everybody, but, well, if everybody fails, I mean...
TPK is not the goal? Wow.
TPK is never really the goal unless the people you're playing with totally suck. That should be the only time a storyteller really shoots for a TPK, when he just wants to have new friends. So...
Did the other 2 even have weapons with them?
I
think Draz might have had her lightsaber, but I doubt she would have drew that in front of a bunch of Imperials.
I don't think she would have drawn it yet, but I didn't want to automatically say she did, because that would just be, that would be outing her right in front of all the Imperials and everybody else, and I don't think it's a good idea being,
the only reason I haven't pulled mine out.
Yeah, it's a good thing that
would a lot more effective against zombies.
It's a good thing we had these weird people with their cowls and masks and stuff that, wonder where they're from. Yes, a lot of these characters do have stories. A lot of these characters would be a good idea to keep alive. Especially if you save their lives, they will need to owe you. And depending on what they have, it could be pretty cool.
I tried to save one's life. I ripped the head off.
Yeah.
It was too late.
Might be too late, but we'll see.
At least it's not Rakghouls.
No, although I do like Rakghoul. Because that technically by now, well, they did come up with a cure. They did in the storylines in the games. They did come up with a cure,
Yeah.
It's lost now. I would say it's lost now, but then so are all the rat ghouls.
No.
I mean, I don't see anybody. There's no rat ghouls running around the Empire. Where?
It's a Legends comic.
All right.
It's the Amulet of Mir or whatever. It's a Sith. It's the Sith artifact that started the rat ghoul plague.
Right.
And so it's
So they have a story in the Legends during an Empire period?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess they're around then.
It went from they sealed some woman in a Sith sarcophagus, and the amulet, like, she was wearing it and she had control, but she was slowly corrupting, and so before she fully fell to the dark side, they like sealed her inside the Sith sarcophagus, and then a bunch of Mandalorians came and blew the planet up.
Oops.
And then there's a part in Galactic Civil War era where I think it's Luke, Leia, and then like one of the last clone troopers end up encountering the lady with the amulet. But it would have been after, I can't remember if she took an Imperial Star Destroyer or a shuttle, because I know in Legacy era, when she reappears, she has an Imperial Star Destroyer.
Oh, that's right.
And that's when Cade Skywalker's like, why didn't you tell me it was a disease? And he cures himself and some girl of it. And then I think...
yeah.
So...
Wait, are you talking about the disease that came from Yuzong Vong?
No. This was before Yuzong Vong. The rat ghouls were the time period of the Outcast, I believe?
Revan.
Oh, that's right. Revan was the first
Revan was the first game.
First tour. Okay, yeah, that was when they started. That's when they started talking about the rat ghouls and the storylines. Okay, yeah, you're right. I remember the Legends now. I loved the Legends comics.
Yeah, and then even in SWTOR, at least 400 years later, if not more, rat ghouls are still on Terrace.
Right. Okay. Okay, so yeah. Well, it's not rat ghoul. You know that. Out of game, you know that.
I know that.
You know that out of game. Which leaves basically...
If they were rat ghouls, we'd all be dead already.
Well, not really, because remember, it takes a while to actually change.
Does it? Oh,
yeah,
it does. But
they always put them in quarantine for like days on end before they actually even started taking on the characteristics and the weird stuff.
Yeah, but the cure was the only thing that could save you.
Yeah.
Once you contracted it, you died.
Right. Except
well, not died.
Except in Tor with the Old Republic game, where you just take the antidote you get from almost every vendor, and you're fine. I, on the other hand, like to hang out at the space station and blow up, infecting everybody around me by the auction house. So, okay. So, okay. I'm going to cut it here for them. I'll make sure I flesh out a little bit more of the characters for next time, but let me look at the calendar real quick. I don't think there's anything going on. Let me see, the 24th, the 1st. Okay, the 24th, I'm not doing jack for anything because my wife has a birthday the next day. She still has no idea where we're going.
I don't know if I'll be able to make it on the 1st just because we have a event going on. If I do make it, I'll be late.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can. Hang on. Jeez. I hate summers. I really hate summer sometimes.
I hate summers because I don't like being hot, so.
Well, normally it's not as hot as it is today, and I can stomach it, and I can just go to my workshop and, work on everything out there and just sweat, and no big deal. Today, I sweat almost to the point of it's time to go inside when I took a drive 10 minutes down the road So, not a good idea. I have my parents that weekend. Okay. It might need to wait. You know what? I'm going to... Well, I'll ask you two. Do you guys... I know we've been doing this one every other week. Do you guys do anything on the alternative Sundays?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Okay. So I'm gonna, because otherwise.
But Daniel stopped it.
Oh, okay.
His game on the opposite Sundays, but he's not doing that anymore. So.
I think he got busy for it. Yeah. So it might be 8, and it might be. You know what? Let me actually. I'm not gonna put the first in stone for anything, because I could make that one. But the parents are in town. That's when they get their gift, or at least Dad gets his gift. God, I hope it turns out. He's not watching this. I'm making him a cane, so you know, it's actually a cool cane instead of that Walgreens trash. So it could be the 1st, and then it could be the 15th. Basically, so it should be the 1st and should be the 15th, but let me find out what's going on first before I put anything in stone. Alrighty, so for right now I'm going to switch this to a intermission video before I actually kill everything.
Lobo, take the girl to my quarters.
Janet's car? Yeah. There's not a trace of it.
Let me loose. Do you hear me? You will be soon as big as a giant. Or, like all the others, dead.
Life has many strange secrets. And none is stranger than the curse of the blood ghouls. In the dark of night, they leave their tombs to satisfy their need for blood. Because these demons of the undead can exist only by ravishing the living.
Let me go.
With abnormal powers of love, they enslave the unwary.
Don't let her
go. Leaving on them the horrible telltale fang mark of the vampire. Life-devouring monsters in human form. They can be anywhere, everywhere.
Louise!
No one is safe. Only by destroying them will a town gone wild with terror and fear be free of the curse of the blood ghouls.
It is safe to state that the grandchildren of some of the people in this theater will not be born on Earth.
hell. A transformed race of walking dead. Zombies guided by a master plan for complete domination of the Earth. Plan 9 from outer space. Starring the most nightmarish cast ever. Bela Lugosi, the seductive Vampira, and Tor Johnson as the Walking Dead.
Turn off your electro gun! No! No! Stop it, Dad!
I can't get it. It's jammed.
Stop it, you fool!
Bullets bounce off their bodies. Rockets, missiles, jets cannot stop their death ship. What earthly power can stop this terror? For a glimpse of things to come, see this blast of screen suspense. For it could be happening right now.
Say goodbye, Jules. You never left me without saying goodbye.
No clues, no fingerprints, no motive, nothing.
But surely if a man was choked to death, there would be imprints on his throat.
Why in the world do you stay in this place?
We can't leave.
Incidentally, where are your menfolk?
You're the first man I've ever seen.
Let go, Kip.
Well, then what's the matter?
Danger, Kip. They want to kill you. They'll take the spaceship and they'll make me go with them.
Well, how?
They can, Kip. They control me.
You'll share man's greatest thrill as you rocket through space to the lost moon city of alluring, ferocious cat women. Theirs is the fevered fury of life without love, goading them to lure men into the den of bloodthirsty moon monsters, driving them to tempt men in the deadly cave of moon gold, flaming into a wild lust to conquer man and destroy the world.